Hello, everybody. I'm Todd Carter, and this is my wife,
Andrea.
Andrea. And
Blackwood Carter.
just Andrea Carter, no Blackwood anymore. It's been too long. We crossed over the halfway mark. We got special guests here with us tonight. We have been doing our podcast. I think this is number 5, I believe. And again, we have some special folks with us. I have heard their testimony for a long time. So I don't know if that drove us into our ministry, making sure we don't have that happen to us, or or because of the good side. There's a bad side and there's a good side. So, but
right.
guess what? That's in every marriage. There's a bad side. There's a good side.
Not our marriage. We have got the perfect marriage if that's what we're here for. I mean, if you're looking for the perfect marriage, you've tried, been unsuccessful. We have members in our family that are working on marriage 3 and some on marriage 6.
Oh,
Wait
gosh.
a minute,
We
that's
have the
not our
perfect marriage.
kid.
Not here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Well, we're going to try to keep people from having that happen
No joke.
in their families, and it's happening in a lot of families everywhere
Yep.
you go.
So, Andrea, for those that
Yes.
don't know out there, there'll be a few, and we're hoping that our children, we also want to do this so that they get the opportunity to see this down the road. That's really what drove this is we're around our kids and our grandkids and all these people we know, but a lot of times we don't share the full story.
yeah.
Other people hear it. Other people in churches have heard your testimony forever. So
Yeah.
introduce your mom and dad.
Well, this is my mom and dad, R.W. Blackwood Jr. and Donna Blackwood.
How are you? Nice to be here with our children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun because it's something we can all look back on. I want my grandchildren to be able to look at it and their children. And that's what's cool about technology is we'll have it saved and more than just us sharing it. It'll be more in a video type production. So we don't like talking about the junk
No.
Well,
in a marriage. And I know you said yours is perfect, but
she has a version and I have a version.
yeah, we're about to destroy all of that perfectness here in the first
Oh,
few
no.
minutes. So, give a little bit of your history just so that people know
you
like,
mean how we met?
how you met, your singing, and then we'll go to kind of like when you gave your testimonies in churches, what I
Okay.
remembered all the time.
All right.
We met in Houston, Texas. My uncle, Cecil Blackwood, with the Blackwood brothers, have been telling me about this girl in Texas that I had to meet.
Now, wait a minute. When I was 13, he started telling me about his nephew. And I was only 13 years old. He said, someday you'll meet him. And I did.
Yep, and
And
3
that's
years later-
because you're a singer and
He-
you traveled.
Yes.
I toured and traveled. I had a singing group.
Yeah.
I was with the Blackwood boys. Sons of the Blackwood brothers were on a program in Houston. And I was told that Donna would be there to meet me, that her dad and my uncle had already worked out an arrangement for us to get together and have a perfect relationship. And when I met her,
Wait.
when I
that's
met her, it was
new.
like, my goodness, this is the most beautiful woman I ever saw. It was like she met her Elvis and I met my
Oh,
Priscilla.
my word.
Oh, geez.
My goodness.
What did you want with this being said? That?
Wasn't it Sonny Bono and
Cher.
Cher?
Well, Sonny and Cher didn't make it. Elvis and Priscilla didn't make it because they didn't know what we knew.
That's right.
And this most beautiful woman and her family, I'll never forget the night I met her. I called my personal attendant over and told him, this is the one. I said, we're going to get married in Hawaii.
Will
Get
you
the
quit?
airplane fired up. We're flying to Hawaii for a
And
big
that's
marriage.
not true.
Will you
That's not
quit?
true.
Well, that's what people think sometimes when they're
They do.
getting
We
married.
have had people
You know, they
think
think,
silly
well, we're
things
going to
like that.
move to our ivory palace with our golden streets around our ivory palace, and there'll never be a problem, and there'll never be an argument, and we'll never
Yeah.
have a discussion. It's just going to be like we're all in heaven at once. But that's not the truth.
Okay, so I was a week away from turning 17 when I met him, and I showed up late to the concert that night, and his uncle had already introduced him to another girl that he knew because they didn't think I was coming, and I went to a football game. And
With
then I
your
showed up
boyfriend.
with my high school boyfriend. And so I came, and he did go ahead. Cecil took me backstage and introduced us. And then we talked a little bit afterwards and got each other's address. He signed an album to me and a photo and went home. And we started writing each other. Didn't have email. You didn't have text message. You had to use real U.S. postal mail.
And telephones.
He
and
came back.
landlines.
That was in March. He came back in June for 3 days. They were singing around Houston. We were together every night, and I have to be honest, Andrea, I don't know if you know this, but
Oh,
the
boy.
first night I was with your dad, I drove my dad's Grand Prix, and we went to the airport in Houston, Texas. And we sat out and watched the airplanes and talked seriously.
Oh.
But back then, we went to the airport,
Was
right?
that what we were doing? I got a few kisses in, and man,
I was gonna say you probably see one plane.
No, we did. We did for a little bit, but anyway.
Or like submarines.
But the next 2 nights they were singing, and the third night my aunts, my dad's 2 sisters, went with us as well. And actually, one of my aunts is the reason my dad and mom even started going to the gospel singings. And so they all wanted to go and see if they could approve of him. And we continued to write, and he even said that we'd get married one day. He told me that. I was on cloud nine, refused to have anything to do with a boyfriend in school or anywhere else. I was deeply in love with him. I'll let him go on from there.
gee, thanks.
Change, you're it.
Well, I arranged for us to move to our new home in Mar-a-Lago. And
When?
with our
Would
golden
you
retriever.
stop? Would you stop?
No,
Keep you on track.
we did a lot of touring, so we didn't get to date very often.
No.
And we decided to get married after how long was it? 9, 10 months?
Now, wait a minute. It seems like there was another girl.
Well, I wasn't
in
going to
the
give all the
story.
trash.
You don't have to give all the detail.
Well, I
Mom.
won't. He just had a girlfriend at home that
Yeah.
his aunt was pushing for him to be with.
My uncle was pushing for Donna, and my aunt was pushing for another girl in Memphis, and we don't want to mention names.
No, we're not mentioning names, but seriously, there was a big gospel quartet convention, and
National Quartet Convention in Memphis.
and my parents always had tickets, and we went. And he decided that he couldn't make his mind, so he thought it was going to be the girl there because he could see her. Long story short, it was all over between us. Broke my heart. Went back home. He called me in December and said that he had given his life to the Lord. Now, a lot of people thinking raised in the Blackwood brothers, he would have been a Christian, but his dad was killed when he was 11. And later on in life, in college and all, he was totally away from church, away from the Lord. And in December, he gave his life to the Lord. The music actually convicted him. And I was thrilled to death. He was actually in the hospital with pneumonia when he called me. It was so funny because you had to call long distance back then. But I'll tell you one a little more funny. I don't know that that's perfect English, but prior to that, I got a call one night in the middle of the night, and my dad answered the phone. It was person to person for Donna Drew. My dad came to the bedroom. He said, Donna, I think Winston's on the phone. R.W. Winston. I call him Winston.
Yeah.
And I went to the telephone, and the operator said, is this Donna Drew? I said, yes. And she said, go ahead, sir. And this voice said, hey, Donna, you don't know me, but I'm Winston's brother, Ron. And
Oh,
I was
gosh.
wanting to know, since you and him aren't dating, will you come to Memphis and date me?
Oh my God. I can believe that story.
And he had never met me. He said some other really nice things, all this accolades. And my dad said, son, I don't know who you are, but don't you ever call this house again. But that's
Yeah.
typical Ron.
And
you know.
Donna's father, when she says he said that, I can hear him
he
say
did.
it. He
Yeah.
was
He did
very
say-
direct, great man of God.
Yes,
But boy, he was stern and to the point.
that's right. He told it like it was. But anyway, so I was graduating high school at midterm, and they were going to be in Oklahoma. We went to see them, and hear the boys sing. And I sat and cried through the whole program, seriously.
Oh, boy.
Several months later, he told my dad that night, he said if she would just move to Memphis, we'd probably get married. So I graduated. I moved to Memphis right after I turned 18 in March. And he said, I'm going to be gone for 10 days. When I come back, I'm ready to get married. Let's go tell my mom. Because it was either let him do it now while he had it on his mind or forget it. I mean, that was him. So we went to his mom's house and called my parents.
And you moved in and stayed with Shirley Sumner in her house.
Yeah.
Shirley was the daughter of J.D. Sumner,
Yes.
who sang bass with the Blackwood Brothers, who later on sang bass with Elvis Presley, and we all know the story of Elvis and J.D. So
Yeah.
you stayed there for those days until I
Yeah.
got back.
Yeah, and we got married in the chapel, and we went to our little one-bedroom apartment. And that wedding night, my parents were leaving the next morning. That wedding night, we had visitors about 2:00 in the morning. It was his best friend from school, high school, junior high, and even college, and his wife, and then Mylon Lefevre and Shirley Sumner. They showed up at our house.
Mylon's family from the Lefevres,
Yeah.
famous Southern gospel singing group, Mylon Lefevre, yeah.
So they wanted to come by and just say hi at 2:00 in the morning to newlyweds.
It's probably not bad for some marriages to hear that you don't have to start out in a home.
No, you don't. Mother and Dad even rented the apartment because we got married quickly.
Yeah.
And anyway, so when they left, about 30, 40 minutes later, the guys went into the bath. You had to go through the bedroom to go to the bathroom, and they went in the bedroom and shut the door and, whatever. And so they left about 30 minutes later, and they were in there a good while. When they left, we went to get in bed, and we had live worms in our bed. Did you know that, Todd? Red
I knew
worms
that, but-
about that long.
Live worms?
All over
Yes.
the Oh, yeah.
That's
So
gross.
that was the start of our
That was the
married life.
practical joke.
Yeah.
We moved to Nashville from Memphis in
Yeah.
1968 and got a recording contract. And things were going well in Nashville. We were touring with a lot of the famous groups. at
And
that
you
time.
had the Blackwood Singers. At that
Blackwood
time.
Singers.
Mm-hmm.
My brother Ron, his wife Sandra, and
Sandra.
and Donna and I were the Blackwood Singers.
That started right after you got married. Then?
19
No, wait, back up. When we got married, we didn't have much of anything.
Right.
Unless Mom and Dad gave it to us. Then the guys
We
got,
were a male quartet at that
they,
time.
they were a male quartet.
Blackwood
The guys ended up with another man calling them and asking their Uncle James if they would move to Charlotte, North Carolina, and be the new harvesters. So we moved. Andrea was a new baby. We moved to Charlotte, North Carolina by then, and we lived what I call the ghetto of Charlotte. We lived in a duplex. The guys lived in one. All four guys in the group were single. We were the only married couple, and it got so bad financially, they all moved in with us in our 2-bedroom duplex.
Oh, man.
Some of them slept in the living room, and your Uncle Ron slept in one of the beds. And we had Dean Brown with us, and I Call and Everett Reese.
I Call is from Walnut Grove, Missouri, right here. Big
Yeah.
memorial out there for him in Walnut Grove, where he was in Vietnam and was killed in Vietnam when he was a part of our group. He was coming back to us, and he was killed in Vietnam. And
Yeah.
so a lot of people may know I Call in this area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, crazy things. We had nothing. The guys would go out of town, and we had a restaurant on the corner, and they would tell me, come on down here and eat while they're gone. But when the guys were home, there was also Krispy Kreme. And what we had for breakfast was a donut and a cup of coffee for about 15 cents whenever the guys were home. And they would come home, and I had a big old iron pot, and I would make a big tub of spaghetti and just marinara sauce. And we'd eat on that the whole time the guys were gone. We didn't have money.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is how marriages start out. People think you have to have everything
you
to
have
begin
to have
with.
a
Everything
house,
in
Not
order.
a
that
job,
way.
a car. Yeah.
No, it was freezing cold. We couldn't afford to turn the floor heat in. The boys wanted us to stay warm. We had a little heater that stayed in the bedroom because she, like I say, she was a baby, and they wanted me and the baby to stay warm. So we had gone to the hardware store, and he got a little heater on credit. And what was it, $30? And
I
we
don't
got
think
it
it
on.
was that- I think it was about that,
About
yeah.
$30, but we had to get it on credit because they were traveling in cars by then. And
You know,
the guy that owned the hardware store showed up about 2 months later wanting to know if he could get just $5.
well, let me tell you, he knocked on the door, and he wanted to know if he could get a little money on that heater, and he saw what's in there. He said, "Forget it. Don't
He
worry
saw
about
guys laying on the floor.
it." Seriously.
That's true. That's true. But anyway,
Here we were on TV. We were on
Yeah.
we were on a local TV show that went all
Every
over North
week.
Carolina.
yeah.
People, it looked like we were the highly
They looked
successful. And we
great.
were living this way, but we stayed there.
Well, I want to tell this one story how God works. They left town and they were going to be gone 2 weeks,
Something
and they
like
were actually coming to
to
Missouri,
Missouri, right, to
to
sing.
sing. And
With the man who started Acts Ministry.
exactly with Paul.
Oh, really?
Dr.
Yeah.
Dr.
Paul.
Paul
Dr.
Collins.
Dr. Paul
That's
Collins
cool.
at the Methodist Church. But
At Pitt's Chapel?
no, this was his big Methodist
Oh,
church
big
where
before
he was
that,
a
yeah.
bishop. And
He didn't know.
he didn't know us, we didn't know him. So Andrea and I are at home. I had barely enough formula for her. He left me, they got together and pooled all the money they had for me to buy, not buy diapers, because we use cloth diapers then.
Yeah.
But for formula, and all they could come together with, because they had to have gas for their car. 30 cents, 3 dimes is what they left me. They left town, and I was sitting there crying, holding her. I'm going to start crying even talking
know.
about it. But the telephone rang, and we had to have a phone because they booked dates on the phone. And this man said, "Is RW there?" And when he did, I started crying harder, and I said, "No." He said, "Wait a minute, honey, wait a minute, honey. What's wrong? What's wrong?" So I finally got out that they had left town, and I was home with the baby, and all I had was 30 cents to keep her fed. And he said, "Me and Robbie are coming after you." Now, Robbie was his wife, and they had a little boy, and they lived in a town about 40 miles from us, Concord, North Carolina. Those people came and picked me up. I didn't know them from Adam, but they followed the guys everywhere they sang when they were in North Carolina. I stayed with them for 2 weeks.
Johnny Russell.
And they never knew. And years later, when got to be so close with Dr. Paul when we were here, he said, if I had known any of this back then, if you had said when you sang in my church, I would have sent any amount of money. I had rich people in my church that would have taken care of y'all. But he never knew any of that until many years later when we were
We
here.
dressed good, we looked good, we acted good, but we
Had nothing.
had, we worked on what they call love offerings.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of love. Yeah.
Anyway, so
We finally got tired of all that, moved back
to Houston.
to Houston, and I stayed with your mom and dad for a while. We spent about 6 months in Houston,
Working.
and we got a call from Ron, wanted to form a Blackwood Singers with both wives and me and Ron. So we moved back to Memphis in '67 and formed the Blackwood Singers. Lived with Jack Marshall. Jack Marshall.
3 of us did.
Jack Marshall was a piano player for many years for the Blackwood Brothers, and we lived in his house. And we got our new start with the Blackwood Singers. '68, we moved to Nashville. So we got a lot of years here. We went '68, got on a recording contract in Nashville, was on the Grand Ole Opry, and things started picking up and doing better. And we drifted apart.
Very definitely.
Yeah, we did.
Very definitely
And,
drifted apart.
A lot of marriages stick together through the rough times, and when things start getting good, they will drift apart. Sometimes
That wasn't when we drifted apart. It was when things were getting really good.
Yeah. Things start looking, well, she doesn't understand me anymore, you know. And this one over here is smarter and better looking, and I'm going to move on over there and try this out. And you find yourself in turmoil, and next thing you know, you're talking separation. Or we made it. You want to say we might have made it barely through the skins of our teeth. We were working with Roy Rogers and Dale Evans doing their backup at the time, and the backup singers.
They always did a song called My Darling Happy Anniversary, and the end of it was 26 years is a long, long time. Now, let me say this. Prior to all of this, Ron and his wife got a divorce, and Ron moved into the office. And so we had a guy named Denny Yeary with us, and we had LaDonna Gatlin, who is the little sister of Larry Gatlin. And she was singing alto with us. And they started booking us for a lot of different big state fairs and county fairs.
Country shows.
Because we could do backup real well. Plus, we put on a really good show, even though we did a lot of gospel music. But gospel music back then was like put your hand in the hand and turn your radio on. That could be secular or gospel, and we would always do like How Great Thou Art. We did a big patriotic song, and we were opening shows for a lot of big country artists back then. And then they booked us with Roy and Dale, and so they would do this song, and Wynn and I we were just having a lot of trouble. And,
How long have you been married at that point?
well, that's where
About
I'm
7
getting
or 8
there.
years.
Okay.
And by this time, Robbie was born. It was 8 years later. Robbie was 11 months old. We were working with Roy and Dale, and they did that song, and they'd sing 26 years is a long, long time. And every time they would say that, he and I would kind of look at each other, and it's like, this ain't going to last. We're going to be divorced soon, because we just were not. To the public, you wouldn't know any of that.
Right.
But so we separated.
We didn't separate yet. We got
After how
No, we
many
waited
years?
2 years.
After how many
we
About
got a-
10 years when
10
we
years.
separated, because Robbie was 2.
Yeah.
We got a big contract with Capitol Records in 75. And we had our first song that was released was in the top 40, going up to the top 20, called the Sunday Afternoon Boat Ride in the Park. So we were having hit songs.
My favorite
And
song.
Donna came to me. She came to me and said that I'll be leaving you on December 76. This will be my last time out on the tour. I'm leaving you. I'm
was
moving
very
back to
calm.
Houston. And so here we were in the big career going. She packs up the children and she leaves. And
I called my dad, and honestly, I didn't tell him the whole truth about myself. I made stuff up that he was writing to me, so he knew that Ron was his brother, and he just assumed it was the same kind of deal. So he and my brother came up. They left town. He thought I was kidding him when I told him that. But I had gotten involved on the telephone with my old high school boyfriend who was planning to leave his wife. That's the honest truth. And
this sounds like what you hear nowadays. You know,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
split
but you
and they
want the
move
truth,
on.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These
Okay.
people need to hear it.
Yeah.
The grass looks greener on the other side all of a sudden. She
Yeah.
doesn't understand me, and we're fussing. We're not getting along.
Plus
So
this guy-
instead of getting in contact with an old boyfriend or girlfriend on Facebook, which is what a lot of people
Yeah.
That's what
do,
they
Yeah.
do
we
now.
did it
by
on by
phone.
phone.
Telephone.
Yeah, my
Because you
cousin-
didn't have Facebook.
My
obviously.
cousin had run into him, and my cousin in Houston was one of my best friends, and she started telling me about him. And she gave him my phone number, and that's how I got started. But he was making a lot of money at that time, and still there were things that I wanted my own home. We were
So it
leased in
looked
a
better.
condo.
It looked better to do that
Yeah.
than stay where
We're
you were.
on-
And he and his wife had no kids.
We're on tour 30 days out of a month.
Yeah, we were
home 3 or
gone.
4 days, you know. And
So the kids and I moved to Houston and lived with my parents. And I hadn't told my parents about him at all. But
Oh, yeah,
Dad,
Papa wouldn't take that.
he would. Well, Papa was the one that set me down,
Yeah.
honestly. But I started working, and I was seeing him, And in the meantime, his career was taking off as just R.W. Blackwood and the Blackwood Singers, because he was the soloist, the lead singer. And these songs were going gangbusters. They were hitting Billboard. If you know anything about Billboard, that is the Bible
music
of
chart.
music chart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had about 6 songs that went in the Billboard right in a row.
And I saw all of that, and I heard about it because my old, if you want to call her nanny, Judy, was calling me all the time. She still stayed in Nashville because she was from there.
She raised our kids.
She didn't raise our kids. She was there, but she was going over to his house and cleaning his apartment. She'd tell me he was a pig. He had stuff all over the house. He didn't put anything up because he knew she was coming.
Well, when Donna left, she took the car and all the furniture. I had orange crates in my house for furniture.
That's true. It's very true. And again, it's like people do today. It really is. I hear stories like this all the time. But anyway, so I was working, and my boyfriend and I were talking about getting married, and he liked the kids. Kids were around him. And then there was another guy I started seeing that was my boss at work, which is real stupid. But he kept coming on to me, and it's so stupid because both of them were in the oil business of sorts, one in one category and one in the other. And there was this huge oil conference, I don't know what you call it, in Houston. It was in the Astrodome, and it's packed with thousands and thousands of people. And my boss insisted that I go with him to this thing.
Well, Donna was a good
I
looker.
had-
She was.
And so I'm walking through there, and my boss puts his arm around me like that, and then here comes the other guy I've been dating, my high school boyfriend, walking toward
This
us.
is a Hallmark movie.
I'm telling you,
You know, I've
It's
never
a
heard
true
this story.
it is a true
I've never heard this
story.
true story
I
until
like
now.
To swallow it, and I'm trying to get away from my boss, and he's saying, "What's wrong?" I said, "I need to go talk to him." And he's fuming, and he's wondering what's going on. And I finally walked back to my boss. I said, "He's taking me home," and I left with the boyfriend. And this guy showed up at my mom and dad's house at my boss showed up at my parents' house at 3:00 in the morning. He had been to the Rockets basketball game. He was very rich too. He lived next door to the Conrad Hiltons, if you know who they are.
Yeah.
And he had floor seats for the Rockets and the Astros and all this kind of stuff. But he was drunk and showed up at my parents' house. And my
didn't know this.
dad, I went to the door and I was stunned. And my dad came walking in behind me. And what did you say about Papa?
Oh, he's very direct.
He
Love
told
Papa. He's
he
a man
told
of
him
God,
he
but-
could leave right then.
Oh, yeah.
And he turned around, he slammed the door in his face, he turned around, and he said, "You better get your life straightened up, girl, because I'll see to it you never see your kids again." Not straightened up, but right with God is the actual words he used. And he walked off to bed. I'd never seen my dad cry. And his shoulders were shaking. He was blood red in the face. I went to bed and cried all night long. I got to work the next day, and my boss called me to his office, and he said, "You need to call your husband." And I said, "What for?" He said, "When was the last time they saw your kids?" He hadn't seen them in about 6 months. And I called him, and I went off at him. I couldn't be nice. I was so torn up. And I told him he needed to come down and see the kids. And he hadn't seen them in 6 months. And wasn't very nice in the way I said it.
So we're about at a pausing point, but you brought up something that I was going to bring up that a lot of times people don't realize. The kids
Most important.
were being affected.
Oh, yeah.
Always. They
Well-
always say, well, the kids will adjust. It's a big lie. Kids
That's
don't
it.
Okay,
adjust.
let me go back.
Okay.
The kids, I'd taken the kids out in the boat with my boss. She was,
I remember that.
yes. And on the way back, they were sitting in the back seat, and I heard Andrea crying. And I said, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" And she didn't like this guy, my boss, at all. And I saw what she had. She had a picture of her daddy in her hands. That was the first thing that tore my gut out. And that was prior to this other running into the two guys.
Yeah.
at one
And
time.
how old was Andrea?
10 maybe, 11,
Yeah.
somewhere right there.
Yeah, so often Andrew and I tell people, and we hear that all the time, oh, the
Yeah.
kids will be fine. No, they will not.
No, they won't.
You are forever changing what they were heading towards.
Mm-hmm.
And now their entire character, demeanor may totally switch
Yes,
because they don't have that safe environment
yes,
they once knew. Now you're thrown into turmoil where it's other people they don't know, and you're supposed to like them and they don't know who they are.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a great stopping point. We'll pray here and then we'll come back. Heavenly Father, dear God, I know some of those are hard to hear, but it's good for people to hear, dear Lord, that it doesn't matter if it was back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 10, 20, 30s. It's same
Yeah.
over and over and over again. This world tries to redirect, tries to destroy the family, because Satan knows if he can destroy the family, he's destroyed the marriage, and everything is chaos from there out. If we have marriages that are strong, then you have stronger families. God, you have stronger churches, people to handle the things that are going on in the world. There's always something going on in the world. Until we get to heaven, there will always be turmoil.
Yeah.
But if we can keep our families and our marriages in line with you, it's amazing what God can bring us through, as we've heard from R.W. and Donna, from having literally nothing, God, and you bringing them through life. And it wasn't during the hard times, it was during the great times they began to separate. Was showing how much sometimes that greed and that the power and what this world does when we hold tightly together sometimes and when we have less. May us all build our marriages strong and come together closer. God, bring us back again. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Whew.
Well, I never heard that story.
I know.